hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. And we have a very special guest that's joining us today. We're going to go ahead and highlight her book on the Amazon Live side of our program. We're going to be speaking with Ivenetta Smith today. Her book is called Pressurized for Greatness. You all can see it there. We're going to talk to Ivenetta not only about the work she's been able to do as an author, she has another book as well. We're letting you guys know how you can get that, but also how she's been able to use her social media platforms through Ivy Speaks to be able to motivate and inspire others as well. If y'all are not following Ivenetta, we'll let you know how to do that. But Ivenetta, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Hey, everybody.
This is going to be a lot of fun, Ivenetta. I enjoyed your book, Pressurized for Greatness. We're going to dive into that here in just a bit. But I want to start with where we are right now because February is recognized as a lot of things, among them Black History Month, Black Excellence, but also just a month of love. And love is one of the things you talk about actually in your book, Pressurized for Greatness. What has it been like for you to share your own message and to see the way people have connected with you?
It has been love, really. People have been moved, some to tears of joy, some to tears of releasing some trauma, but they're releasing it and they're seeking help. So also love from strangers who have read the book, who have connected to me and thanked me for sharing my story. And I'm just thankful for obeying God, because initially I wasn't gonna share my story,
Yeah.
but it had to be shared, and it's been a blessing to people. So
And I appreciate that, Ivenetta. And one thing I will say, as you all are hearing about Ivenetta's book, and we have it highlighted there in the carousel, I actually got mine from Amazon as well. We're going to remind you how you can also stay connected with her. You're not afraid to go there, Ivenetta, in the book, and sharing the fact that everything has not been easy. You know what it's like to experience trauma. You've experienced loss. You've gone through these different things, and yet you are still here, which is why the title of the book, Pressurized for Greatness, I think is so powerful. So I want to ask you this, because when we're going through stuff, like a lot of people right now are hurting, they're going through things. It's not always easy to think about it working out for their good. How did you get to a place when you were able to realize that what you were going through was only preparing you for something great?
excellent question. Well, I would answer that question like it took it took time, for one, for me to get to a place where I was able to even look back and say, wow, I really went through this happened, like really be honest with what I went through. And then of course I sought out therapy, and through therapy I was able to collect my thoughts and collect where I went through those things, not of my own doing per se. Like, some of the things I share in my book had nothing to do with me, had everything to do with the other person. But what I've come to realize, my healing though is my responsibility. And I got to a point where I was tired of playing the victim. I got tired of being angry. I got tired of being mad and upset. And so to your question, I would say the point is, in life we're going to go through things unforeseeable. Like that's the whole point. Like, but it is for your making. It is for your greatness. And my stance is always biblical. That's my core belief. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I'm unashamed. I don't force it on people, but this is what you're going to get when you come talk to me. And so Jesus said it himself, in this world, you will have tribulation. That's a promise. And then he said, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome. That's a double promise. So you're going to go through things, but you can be of good cheer because he has overcome. And so how do you really go through pressurized times? It's just the fact of life. So it's like, take the fantasy away, please. Take the what is it called? The dog with the picket fence and the 2.5 kids and all that. That's nice, but reality says we're in a fallen world. We're in a world where crime and all of these things live. But we also are in a world where we can make choices. We can make decisions. And so our decisions are the course for our life. And we can't say as adults these people make me do this anymore. We have to, and it comes back to responsibility, Cyrus. It comes back to
Yeah.
accountability. And it took me a time to get to a place of responsibility and accountability.
And now you're here. Hello to you, Melissa. I see you over there on the Facebook side. And now you are here, and you invite us to do something that is not always easy, Ivenetta, and that is to be honest with ourselves. In chapter 6 of the book, the chapter's focus matters. You say this for those who have the print edition that's found on page 51. And I love this statement because it is a question. It is when we're dealing with situations. You say, for instance, when dealing with repeated negative cycles, ask yourself, is a story I have told myself my whole life about what happened helping me or hindering me? And I think what you just shared is so important because even as people of faith, we go through stuff. And sometimes it's hard for us. We look at Job and the things that he went through and at no fault of his own, right? But these bad things just happen. The same with us today. How did you get to a place where you could make the right choice? Because even as a person of faith, Ivenetta, you could have said, you know what? I've been trying to be faithful. I've been trying to do this and that. Why is this happening to me? How did you not choose that and choose the other way of looking at it?
I love that question. The short answer is I practice obedience to God. That's really the truth is I practice. I'm not perfect. I know no one really is perfect,
Right.
meaning we are imperfect, right? And so how do I do it now? I practice. I'm in tune with my inner knowing. I'm in tune with the Holy Spirit. And so do I get it right 100%? No. And the truth is God knows we weren't going to get it 100%. He knows that. No one hits it on the head at 100%, but it wouldn't be because we're not aiming for the 100%. And
Yeah.
we practice. We practice.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said what is the story I'm telling myself? Is it and the story, is it helping me? Meaning, is it pushing me forward to where I want to go? Or is it holding me in a pattern that I'm tired of? I'm like, this can't be. And I found out I was hindering my own self by my own words, by my own beliefs.
Hmm.
So, but we can change
Ivenetta,
that.
I think one of the hardest things for people is forgiveness. And I've talked about on this program and other platforms before that a lot of times the forgiveness of self is one of the most difficult things for us to do. How has your journey with forgiveness? How has it evolved throughout
Oh,
this journey?
my goodness, that is such a good question. It is. I would say I chose to forgive myself because I was doing the best I knew at that time.
Yeah.
Simply put, I wasn't trying to purposely put myself in situations that caused me harm or whatever, but that was the knowledge I had. And it's the same thing with the people who did what they did, and even the
Hmm.
people who do what they do today. Um, like the Bible talks about there is a way that seemeth right to a man, but that way leads to ways of death and destruction. The paraphrase version is basically no one sets out to do something that's to their detriment. Like
Yeah.
no one really logically plans that out. Like, let me just, roll off this cliff. No, 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 no. We think this is going to lead to good things. But when we count the costs, that's when we can see, when we take the time to introspect and to think, not to be a dweller. Let me maybe make that clear, not to just dwell and not have action, but
Hmm.
to really be in tune with, is this decision going to chart my course towards that decision that I said I want to have? Like you what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
is it getting me to point A? Is
Right.
that or point B? You know what I mean? Is it getting me there? So
Yeah. And I think that's it. And I think that is why, quite honestly, some people stay stuck because they're not asking
absolutely.
that question. they, so they stay in the same place, not
Yeah.
realizing that it's because of what their choices are
Yes, sir.
that's why they're still where they are. Because I think if we're able to answer the question honestly, then we can say, wait a minute, the reason why I'm not getting it because I'm still holding on to things, and letting go is not easy either. And I think that's the other thing about this book. And I should mention the subtitle for those who haven't got it yet. 5 things about the grace of tomorrow. Because I was just talking on another platform today. We all, a lot of times I will say this: we can either judge ourselves by yesterday or allow other people to judge us by yesterday. And neither one is helpful to us. So today, as you look at what you've been able to do, we're about to talk about social media as well. What has it been like for you to see how your yesterday is now helping you today to become better?
Wow. It was all preparation. It was all preparation. And I'm an advocate to say God wastes nothing. He wastes nothing. I truly believe he knows the end from the beginning. So if he allowed a thing, it's not that he's for the detriment of me, but no, he knows what he's placed in me. I don't actually fully know all of who he's created me to be. This is
Right.
why it's important to develop that relationship with the Father, with God, and then and get in community with people. So all of it was preparation. I mean, literally, all of it is a part of my testimony. And as they would say, there's no testimony without a test. Literally, the word is in the word testimony. So
Yeah.
you don't get one unless you get one, you
Hmm.
know? And so, and the fact that what took someone else out, literally, I'm still alive. That's a testimony of the grace of God that I'm still in sound mind. And of course, I had to do some soul work, and I'm doing soul work daily. Like I said, it goes back to practicing. I don't have it all together, but I
Right.
have at least what I would say it contained a bit. Like, I know the direction I want my life to go in now
Hmm.
because
And I
I know
think that's
what I don't want.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's it. And I think that's something all of us have to get to a place where we're able to realize. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live, but we are streaming on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and Twitter. We welcome you all to our platform. Ivenetta Smith is our guest for today. We're talking with her about her book, Pressurized for Greatness. You guys see it there on Amazon. If you guys follow her on social media, though, you know her as Ivy Speaks. And we're going to get into social media. I do want to say on Amazon Live, today's show is being powered by Bite Cool. You all see the laptop right there. They're the ones that's helping us to stream today. A lot of us are doing a lot of streaming these days, especially because of work. For those who are working either in a hybrid environment or just working totally virtually. If you're looking for a laptop that helps you guys to be able to stream easily, Bite Cool definitely has this one on Amazon right now for $279. It does come with Windows 10, and it gives you a free upgrade to Windows 11 as well. I know because mine upgraded free. So you guys can get that. It's actually cheaper now than it was when I got it during Black Friday. So definitely keep that in mind if you guys are looking for a laptop. And of course, it's great for streaming, and social media is one of the places all of us are these days, Ivenetta. And there, as I said, we know you as Ivy Speaks. So let's talk about how you've been able to use social media. I mean, you and I initially connected on Instagram, but you're on all the social media sites as they'll be able to find you. What has that been like for you to be able to share your story there, but also to motivate other people along their own journeys?
Wow. I didn't think it would necessarily motivate people. I was just sharing to one, voice my story to whoever it would register with,
Okay.
and then see what happens after that. But I knew I had to get it out, which is why I even wrote the first book. And also wrote it to help other people to know you're not alone. This is what I've gone through. You may have gone through something different, because we will all go through things. We will all go through something. Um, and so I just use social media to share love and light. I share jokes. Because it's all
Mhm.
about positivity, encouraging someone, giving someone the courage to share their story, giving someone the confidence to not just confide in me about their story, but confide in other people. And when I say confide, I mean share their story with others, because there's a blessing in that. There's a release. There's a freedom. And when you can share the things that were almost took you out of here, but you can share them from a place of freedom where it's like, what? Really? And that can help other people who may not be free or as free as they want to be.
Right. So true. And it goes to another point too, because I've noticed, I've watched especially your videos on Instagram, and what I love is that you are able to share messages, but you're able to use the platform where people are, and to be able to reach them where they are, to be able to share these messages, and it's something that it looks like, again, going back to yesterday, preparing for today. Do you feel as though part of what has happened in your life is that you've been able to not only grow yourself, but want to see other people reach that same growth?
Absolutely. Because someone did it for me. Actually, some people. It wasn't just one person.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned community. It's so important. I would say it's vital to your growth and development, um, especially in adulthood as well. I say this story or this nugget to some people, like when we were kids, we always hung in community. We were kids, hung together, whatever. As adults, not so much. We but we need community. And so
Right.
I think this is just my reasonable service to just help someone else. I know I'm not for a whole bunch of people. I'm for a certain group of people. That's
Mm,
another freedom tip, if you will, because my voice is not for everyone,
mm,
but my voice is for someone. And I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't speak up, if I didn't speak the truth of what I've been through and resonate with them so that they too can speak. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. That's interesting you said that, because I think what so many people fail to realize and appreciate about themselves is that their voice matters. Talk to us about that. How did you get to that place where you realize that your voice mattered, even if not everyone chose to listen?
Wow. How did I get there? It's been a journey. Even today, I may have some doubts, but thankfully I'm not doubtful anymore.
Mm,
I may have some insecurities, but I'm not insecure, you know, unlike I used to be, just second guessing this and that. And so, to your question, I would say it just goes back to practice. It just goes back
okay.
to practice. I'm only a master of my own story. I'm only a master of my own experiences. And when I say mastery, I'm talking about daily practice, right? And so everyone can change their story. And
Yeah.
it's important the language that we speak, words, um, impact our voice. Words can silence us. And then no one knows your voice. Your voice comes from your literally your breath. And that means you're not in tune with who you are. Your very core of who you are. You have something to say because you have purpose, you have
Mm,
value. But if you don't know that you have value, if you don't really know that you have purpose or even what your purpose is, you're not more inclined to speak. You're not.
right.
And that was my story. But until someone started to pour into me, pour the value of who I really am in Christ Jesus and who I am as a woman of God, I wasn't talking about much of anything. And so now you can't get me to not be quiet. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay respectful. Of course, I'm going to
Yeah.
respect people's opinions, but I'm not going to be coy anymore. I'm not going to be mute to speak.
Yeah. Such a great point. Candace, we see you over there on the Facebook side. She says, I'm only a master of my own story. Everyone can change their story. And that is the thing. And I think to be able to get to a place where you're able to realize that is so exciting. So I asked you earlier about forgiveness. I want to ask you now about celebration, because Melissa, who is watching us on the Facebook side, I live a pretty steady life. I'll say that. And it's not always easy to take a moment and to stop and to say, you know what, that was a good thing, or that really was good, or that, that went well. How important has that been for you? In chapter 5 of the book, you talk about those moments, right? About the moments. How important is it for you at this part, what you've been able to achieve, to be able to take out those moments and say, as Alicia Keys says in her song, good job?
You know, celebration can look differently. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be in my former days turning up as I would. It doesn't have to be that. To each his own. I'm just
Yeah.
saying my celebration looks like more self-care, more
Mm.
relaxation, more rest, more massages, if you will. Like it looks differently, but I'm
Right.
celebrating my accomplishments because I'm worthy to be celebrated. Like I'm worthy of self-care and um self-worth and value, like, and so how do I celebrate the moments, and not all the time do I do it
Hmm.
because I'm so focused on completion. I'm focused
Right.
on finishing, because I think finishing is important as well, because then what are we celebrating?
Hmm. Right.
What are we celebrating? But even throughout the progress and the journey, you can celebrate. And I'm an advocate of celebrating small wins. Like I typically set my intentions for the day. It could be 3 to 5 things that I want to get done that day. And
Hmm.
the 3 to 5 things don't have to be big things. They can
Yeah.
literally be pick up the mail out the mailbox. Because it literally, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so to check those things off, as small as they would be, actually boosts your mood. It actually feels good to say, I did this.
Yeah. Love that. Melissa says absolutely celebrating the success and wins gives you the empowerment to continue to succeed and win. And then I love what you said too about the small things, because I think the mistake that so many people make, and I'm so glad that I was raised to. Don't say I always do it. I was raised to celebrate everything. I just don't do it. But but some people think they should only celebrate if they reach the big thing, which is always odd to me, because even if you didn't reach the big thing, the fact that you were moving forward and you did something
Right.
is something to celebrate, right? What would you
Absolutely.
say to people about that, Ivanetta? The importance of celebrating those small things and taking that opportunity to realize where you come from instead of where you see yourself today.
Wow. That takes a level of, I said it earlier, introspection, um, to even see where you really came from. Like, see, like I said, there was some things I went through that some people didn't make it. Some people
Yeah.
literally didn't make it. And so that causes me to just thank the Lord, be grateful. And then moving forward, it's like whatever goals that I've set out for myself, I know there's goals within those goals, like small achievements. I could talk about football. I like football, but I don't care that much about it. But it's a great teaching, right? It's a
Mhm.
great teaching tool. With the NFL, right? You got the Super Bowl. That's the goal for every team. But to every Super Bowl, there is what, 16 games, I think. So though I look at that like that's a step towards the right
Mhm.
direction towards my goal. So, and every game definitely gets a celebration. They do celebrate those games because it's getting them closer to that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's worth that. Life is just like that. But a lot of times we're so focused on the Super Bowl that we don't even focus on even the division championship, if you will, or
Mhm.
even the see, this is where I lose my NFL hat because I don't follow football like that. But you see what I'm saying? Life is just
Right.
like
Right.
it's worthy of that, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah. I love that. Mary Ellen says, hi, yes, you are worthy to be celebrated always. Love what you say about self care. And it is so important. May we see you as well. May says, awesome. And I think this is the thing. And I think that's why a book like Pressurized for Greatness, Ivenetta, is so important, because I think regardless of what people have gone through, and it's, not everyone has gone through the same type of trauma and trials and circumstances, but the principles you laid out in the book can help anyone who's gone through any type of situation to realize that what they've gone through doesn't have to break them. And just because they have felt the pressure, it doesn't have to crush them, it can refine them. And it goes back to what we said in the beginning of the conversation. That's the choice. That's the choice we have.
That's
That
right.
whatever it is, it reminds me of Joseph. I talk about Joseph a lot on the show because one of the I want to get to the place where Joseph was when he said to his brothers, "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." And I think I'm not there yet, but I want to get there. Hey, I'm just being honest.
I hear
But
that. I hear
I
you.
think that is the choice. We can look at what's happening and say, you know what, I'm going to get even. I'm going to, because of you, I can't do this or that. Or we can say, even in spite of this and that, I'm
Yeah.
going to become what I was created to be. And I think, again, that's the choice that you really allow us to see. And it doesn't mean we're not going to take some, some wrong turns along the way, but it's keeping moving, taking advantage of those moments and valuing those. So what would you say, Ivanetta, to those who are just hearing about the book? What would you say to them about the importance of that, realizing the greatness they were created for?
Yes, I truly believe everyone was born with a gift, was born with purpose. And it's up to us really to cultivate that gift. But the gift is still there and it
Right,
was God given. And so, and the cultivation process is situations, trials, pressurized times. Like I say in the book, how the things we in society that we define as valuable come from very pressured situations.
right,
Gold, diamonds, pearls, you name it. Anything that's really of value, most likely the backstory of that was a pressured situation. And we are really no different because we are even more valuable than gold and diamonds and all that. But how are we going to know we have this greatness in us? Greatness to not just produce, but to endure, greatness in character. How is your character really developed?
right,
Like, how is patience really developed? You're going to have to go through situations that you will need to exhibit. You will need to produce patience. And you will
right.
produce it because it's inside of you. And if it's not, hear this, if it's not, you can cultivate what you may not know that's in there.
Mhm.
You may not.
Wow.
Because I didn't know I had a voice. I didn't know I was called to minister the gospel to people. I didn't know those things. And in fact, I didn't have a desire for those things. And until things begin to happen to me and a change began to happen and a shift. And now you can't talk me off of it because I'm fulfilled in those areas. So, and I think another thing I could say about the pressure, as to why I even wrote the book, was to just share with people we need to get in touch with reality as well. Because I don't just want to talk about my spiritual side, I need to talk about my practical side. And practically, you're going to go through things, you're
Right.
just going to go through them. Um, but it's still our decision how we go through. Like, I confess this every day. I can do hard things. I can do hard things.
Hmm.
And when, you know, and when
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but Tracy has a question. Tracy, thank you for that. And it's a good one, actually, Ivan. And she says, so how do you get the desire to cultivate? That's a good question.
so it can come in many ways, right? Like my way that it initially came was from not just church, but going into serving in ministry and having to be a student of the word. Um, and then I started to think like, okay, well, God, what is in me that is valuable? Like what is it? Um, and you can also ask people close to you, people who really know you, who really love you, who really care about you. they can have a better lens than sometimes we can about ourselves. Because like I said earlier, most people don't practice a level of introspection, meaning, or even metacognitive, basically minding your mind, think about your thinking. Most people don't think about their thinking. Like, they'll think it, but they don't know why they're thinking that. So
Right.
how do you get a desire? In short, I would sum it up with this: ask the Lord to give you a desire to cultivate the gifts that He's given you, because every good and perfect gift comes from above, and you are a perfect, good and perfect gift. And when I say perfect, that does not mean without error. That means you are growing and becoming more and more who God created you to be. So that's what I would say. Ask God, because that's literally what I did. I started with God, and then I started asking those closest to me.
Yeah. Love that. Great answer. Again, everyone, Ivenetta Smith has been our guest. Great conversation with Ivenetta. Ivenetta, I told you the time's go fly by. We just go get to talking. you know
Yes.
and the time, and we appreciate you guys for being with us. If you guys have not gotten pressurized for greatness, there you see it there. We have it highlighted on the Amazon live side. Kim, hello to you on the Amazon live side. Appreciate you for joining us as well. You guys can get your copy of the book there like I did. And as I mentioned, you're very active on social media, so how can our audience stay connected with you?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at Ivy Speaks. Also, Twitter is at Ivy_speaks. And then Facebook, I have a Facebook page, Ivy Speaks. You can put the at as well in front of it.
There you go. And we do have her tagged on several of the sites except for Instagram, so you guys can easily be able to find her with the replay of this conversation as well. Ivanetta, really enjoyed having you on the program. We have other conversations we'll be doing on other shows, but looking forward to speaking with you again.
Yes, thank you, Cyrus. This was great. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.